And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hello folks, today we're taking a look at Stone Daze. This is Stone Daze. It's a game about prehistoric history. And when I saw this on Kickstarter, which was where it originally was, I was very excited about this game. It looked cool, looked like some sort of dexterity style game, and you're throwing clubs at each other, and I was like, woo, that sounds like a lot of fun. And it's a 2 to 4 player game, although it's really a 2-player game that you can split into teams of 2 each, and you take half the characters, as any 2-player game can be done that with. So let's take a look at it and see what we think. Okay, so you got to realize, first of all, this is just kind of a sample setup. Players will take turns putting the terrain on. Players will take turns putting their own characters on. It's technically a 2-player game, but you can play with more players than that. Each player is going to have some trays that you're going to be putting all your different character cards in. Oops, wrong way. Like this, so you can see your character cards. These trays are magnetic, and there is a little washer here that you'll be moving around and saying what direction each turn they're going to be. Are they going to stay in the same spot? Are they going to move in one of these directions, or are they going to be turning? And so that's basically how the game is going to work. Each turn of the game, players are going to decide how far they want to move. So you're going to be picking how far the characters want to move. You also possibly, and you only have a certain number of these discs in your bin here, you're going to decide if you want to use one of their special abilities. Each character has a couple special abilities. Once you use it, you put it down here. And you only have so many special abilities. Not every character will be able to use all of them. So after characters use the special abilities and then they've moved, then everyone is going to be throwing their clubs. Now when you throw a club, you're only going to be able to throw it so far. And the easy way to remember that on the side of the board here is they have these colors. So you can see red to red, green to green. So if I have a character here in the green, I can throw all the way up to this green marker there. And I can only throw directly in front of me or to the left or right. And if someone is directly behind an obstacle, I won't be able to hit them. Neither will they be able to throw themselves. So maybe I'll throw one here, a club. So everyone's going to take, for each of their characters, they're going to place where the clubs are. After the clubs are done, everyone will then move. And if somebody moves into a spot where a club is, then boop, they get hit. When you get hit, you're going to give yourself a bump on the head. If you have a bump on the head and you take another hit, then boom, you're out of the game. Or that character is. Now the goal of the game is to get one of your characters to move into your opponent's base, to move up into those spots. So that's all you need to do. So you're running up that way. And like I said, each character has special abilities. You have the mammoth, which can push your opponents around. Only the mammoth and one other character can move through water. Some people can move extra spots with their special abilities. Some people can drop a fireball. There's a few tokens, and when they drop a fireball, anyone next to that fire might take some more damage. And the rule book comes with an explanation of what all of them do. Like there's a bird that you can call that will come in and drop a hit. But what I just showed you is essentially the main rules of the game. You are predicting where your opponents are going to move by throwing clubs, and you are trying to move and get to where you need to be without having a club hit you from your opponents. First person to do that capture the flag thing I just mentioned is the winner of the game. Now, when I first saw this, I really thought it was a flicking game because of these big wooden pieces. It's not. Moving the pieces around. And there's a lot of things I like. I like the artwork on the pieces themselves. I like the silly caveman Fred Flintstone styles on them. I like how there's a point here so you can tell which direction they're going. And I really like the way the board looks. The thing looks good. I really like this numbers system here. Like you can shoot 6 spaces in front of you, and you know it's not always easy to figure out 6 spaces by visual. And so these colored dots on the outside of the board are great. So why didn't they finish it? Why didn't they do it on both sides and this way? Because when you turn and you're shooting that direction, then there's no colored dots. And it just surprised me that they didn't continue to do the colored dots all the way around the board. That seems like a pretty obvious thing. Now, here's the big problem with the game, component-wise, are these push pins. These are actual pins that can pierce your skin. I'm not going to do that to show it off. Now, granted, when you stick it in their head, It looks hilarious. It looks like the guy got a bump on the head. Great. The problem is, I think I could have done that with like a push pin or something else. This just feels generic. Not to mention, these are easily painted washers. You know, I get that, you know, they probably save some money doing that, and it works. And I do like that these are magnetic boards and these work on those. But and then continuing this trend, the whole secret action thing, I mean the special actions, when you put them here, players can see where you put your special actions and stuff. I don't know, I almost wish there was a way to do that, and you're like, I'm not taking your disc, don't look, I'm not taking one. But other than that, it does look good. These are minor things. I think the whole game has a good thing, other than the pins. The pins thing really should have been changed. But I like it. I like these stands to hold the boards in, and it works pretty well. So obviously this game has a Flintstone vibe. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's Pebbles all grown up. This is a game that's basically about programming movement and trying to anticipate where your opponents are going to go, which is just a lot of fun, you know, because you're essentially, it's like a capture the flag running for that. So do you run straight down the middle? Your opponent knows that. They're going to throw clubs there. And if you manage to manipulate your guys into a spot where you can all throw your clubs and cover everything, you're probably going to hit the guy. Except he knew that, so he stayed where he is. Or maybe he moved backwards. I think that part of this game is very clever. Now you'll notice I pointed out some foibles in the production, which it's this obvious, hey, it's a Kickstarter production using push pins and washers and things like that. Yeah, I find that a little bit unfortunate. This is the kind of game that's almost asking to have like a redone, nicer version from a bigger company, because I like it. There's a few things in the rules like that too. Like the special abilities aren't always clear. Some of them aren't really that good. Like, ooh, I put a fire there. And you're like, okay, I'm not going into fire. It just, sure, you can use these special abilities, but some of them are much better than others. There's a bird, being able to move twice. Some of them just have a better feel than others. And then moving sideways and turning and going. There's a possibility in this game that sometimes, if just because of the way it works, someone will get past everybody else, and at that point, there's not much you can do to stop them because you can't throw a club behind you. So you're turning, and then turning, and then throwing the club, and by that time they've already got to your flag, which is fine. This game does not overstay its welcome. The mammoths look cool. I think you can almost cut them out because there's a big club that you can throw, and if it hits the mammoth, it takes it out, but the mammoth's really not that dangerous anyway. Sure, he pushes people around, but you know, I wish the mammoth was actually more deadly than he was, which would make throwing that big club, because you're trying to hit the mammoth at the right spot. But of course, I do like the rule that if you throw the big club and you miss, you get it back, no problem. If you throw the big club and you get the mammoth's gone, so's your big club. If you hit the big club and it takes a person out, it's gone. And so you're throwing at the mammoth and hit someone else, you're like, but the mammoth is still there. However, in this game, taking out a person is better than the mammoth. Anyhow, despite, again, like I said, this game, you can feel some creases around the edges here. It's a really cool idea. I haven't really seen anything exactly like this, and it's just fun for me to try to predict what my opponents can do and throw my clubs there, and it's very satisfying when they're like, yep, there you go, walk right into a club. I love that feeling. Of course, it's the same feeling there when you do the same thing. You're like, oh man, how did they know I was going to do that? So there's that double guess thinking here and running, quick enough to be over with. So not perfect, but a game that I did enjoy. Stone Daze. Dice Tower Judgment approved.